also live, which is correct. This is the wrong thing. I hate this. Delete. But I might be live on the right thing. So let me try to understand how this actually works. It says that I'm live. Where am I live at? Okay, I think I've got the hang of this. As opposed to sending a video of me repeating. Give me 1 second. I almost have the hang of this. Let's see. It should be good. Let's try again. Let me try it myself. Hey. Looks like I am live. Okay, I'm gonna wait for some feedback. If I am live, and if it is working, can you give me some feedback on our Slack or on our channel? How do I actually go to the channel? Hello? Okay, I'm not sure if this is working, but I see that I have 4 people live. So yay, happy days. So somebody must be seeing me. Can you, if you are, if it's working, can you tell me on Slack that it's working? Yes! Cell 5. I am excited. I am excited. Look at this. Okay, how are we doing? Oh yes, there's no feedback. Good. Well, I hope you're all good. I hope if you're tuning in, welcome, welcome. It's been some time. It's been what? 2 weeks? 2 weeks since we last coded? Yes, I don't know. We have somebody asking if this will be recorded. Yes, it will kind of be recorded. I don't know if I'll let it stay up forever. Depends how much I embarrass myself. But anyway, welcome back. Welcome back to Python. And I hope you're enjoying your, well, I hope you're making the best out of your time in isolation or social distancing. But let's not talk about that, because today we're talking about Python. And so let's see. And I think what makes sense, I spent a lot of time kind of just deciding how I was going to do this, because obviously I don't have feedback and I need to kind of understand how to manage this feedback. So questions will go directly to Slack, and basically we're going to start this session by doing a little recap of what we did. Not a long one at all. We'll go directly into the last thing that we did, which is lists and ifs and loops. We'll do some, I cherry-picked some exercises from session 4 for us to do together, okay, from this session. And then once we're done with that, we'll go into files and pip manager and APIs. And in terms of doing the exercises, I don't know. We'll see how it goes, and we'll kind of just we'll iterate over it. Okay, we'll be very iterative, and we'll change, we'll adapt. So first, let's start off by doing a little bit of a recap and how that's going to work. So let me go back. If you don't remember, I hope you still remember. If you don't remember, I didn't remember, but opening my my PyCharm and opening my Code First Girls 2020, I have all my files here, and hopefully you have a file as well that has all the things that we did. If you don't have a file, or if by somehow you've corrupted your file, things have become a little bit, or it's just been so long that you don't know anymore where it is, you can follow this by just going on the description. There should be a link directly to my GitHub, which has everything that's in here. Okay, so you're going to find a link that looks, that takes you to this repo. Okay, so it says Code for Squirrels 2020, and it's by me. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to click here. You're going to click on download zip. Okay, and then you're going to want to just kind of have that folder somewhere where you know it works, and open it with PyCharm. And so I might do that just so that we are all on the same page. Actually, I'm just going to do that so that we're all on the same page. We're literally all working with the same thing. And because also I realized that opening things on PyCharm is not always easy. And some of the homeworks now that will come, you'll have to open new files. For example, the list and dictionaries, you have to kind of figure out how to run it on PyCharm. So I'm going to do it here, and it'll stay recorded, and that will just be kind of best for everyone. So anyway, I downloaded the zip file. It's over here. I'm going to cut it. So that's like, yeah, and I'm going to put it in a place where I know where it is and where I keep all of my code. So I have on my users, I have a folder called code. Okay, I'm just going to put it on my, I'm just going to put it on my C drive. So I came to this computer C drive just so that I know exactly where it is, so that I can find it. You shouldn't really put it directly on your C drive, but for now, for complexity's sake, I'm just going to put it here. So I'm going to create a folder called code examples. Okay, and I'm going to paste it here. And if I wanted to open this, what I have to do is obviously unzip it. I'm just showing this because, once again, it will help us with the next ones. Okay, and opening code with PyCharm isn't always straightforward. Okay, so this has all of the code that was here. You see all these files, 101, 102, 103, they're here. 100 and the 101. Exercise 101, exercise 102, exercise 103. Okay, so now to open these files, what you're going to want to do is you want to open it on PyCharm. And the first thing you want to do is know where it is on your computer. So in this case, it's in C drive, code examples, code for squirrels, 20 master. So I'm going to go back to my PyCharm. I'm going to open, and I'm going to go and find that folder. So that folder was on C. So C is the root of everything. Okay, or in Macs it'll be slightly different, but you'll have to just find wherever that folder is. So I put it inside C, code examples. Then there's these two folders, code for squirrels, masters. This is the one that I want, that has all the code. When I open it in the window, I'm quite happy that this is staying recorded, so that we can refer back to it. When I open it, you'll see that running the code, like it won't let me run the code, okay? And that's kind of like, well, why can't I run the code? And now it's scanning and installing packages. And when it's scanning and installing packages, what it's doing is creating its own little virtual environment for Python. But sometimes it doesn't really install all that it needs to. So what you need to do is you need to add an interpreter. So think of it this way. We're learning to speak Python, right? So we're the interpreters of Python when it says like, if this, then that. And when we're writing, we're the interpreters. But right now, we don't have anybody who speaks Python inside this project. So we need to add that. Okay, it's like trying to go to Morocco and not taking somebody who speaks French. You're gonna have a bad time. Or Arabic. So anyway, let's try and add this interpreter. So to add an interpreter, you go on File, go on Settings. If you've just joined and you're lost, I will circle back and just start right away. So anyway, you went on File Settings. You're going to want to go to your project, and you're going to go to on Project Interpreter, and just okay. If you have something here that's working, great, happy. If it's not, just click Show All. Click the little plus. You'll have a lot less than me, and create a new environment. Okay, you don't have to do all of this. This is just if I send you homework that is outside of this and you have to open a new project, it's always good to know how to do this. Okay. Okay, that's our new interpreter. It's built specifically for this this project. We're going to add it. And now I should be able to run Python. What's it doing? There we go. Cool. I'm able to run Python. Say something. I don't remember what this is. I don't remember what this is, what program this is. But anyway, it's working. We've got Python running. That's what we needed. Cool. So that's if you started and you need to join you need to download all my project. But if you have been with us and you have coded everything, then you have all of this. So happy days. All right. So we went through numerical types, went through input, went through functions, we went through lists, which the main thing about lists is that they work with indexes. Okay, so we start a list and we can list things. And then we saw that list, as you see here, work with indexes, very specific index. So Joanna is index 1, Andy is index 2, and Catalina was index, Andy is index 1 and Catalina is index 2. So they started at 0. Then we saw that we use the indexes to get stuff out of the list. We can also reassign stuff inside the list using the index. And then we can also insert and append. We went on to dictionaries, and we saw that dictionaries are very similar, but they use keywords. So we're looking for specific words, and then when we look at that word, let's say we're looking for the name for the word, we're looking for the key name, and then we look at the value Filipe, or we could be looking for the key address, and then we have the value London. So those are how dictionaries work. And that's kind of where I'm not going to go into the booleans and in the recaps here, because I feel like we've done enough recap. I'm going to go directly into an exercise so we can put all of this into practice instead of me just talking. And I know that that's what will keep us entertained. So let's go directly into an exercise. So where are we? Cool. All right, we're going to do exercise 4.4 because this is the lecture from last time. We already did this, lecture 4. We're supposed to be on lecture 5, so we're going to do this as a recap. So I'm going to go directly into 4.4. Dictionaries and lists. Give me 1 second. This is 4.6. I wanted this one. Give me 1 second. Lists and loops. That's what I want. Okay, here we go. Alright, and I'm going to send you this code so you can have this code, okay, so that we can all have the same code. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to send it to you on Slack, okay. I'm going to create what's called a paste bin, which is basically a place where I can just paste some code and send you a link that has that code. So I'm going to paste that there, create a new paste, that will give me a link. Now I can send you this on our amazing Slack. Because I guess Slack is probably 10 seconds ahead, I'm going to leave you a message. Okay, it'll make sense in a second. Cool. So that's the code. And what do we have to do? So I want to work out how much money I've spent on lunch this week. I've created a list of what I spent each day. Write a program that uses a for loop to calculate the total cost. Okay, so we have to use a for loop. Now this is pretty simple. So this is something that we should be able to do all by ourselves. So I'm going to start doing it. Start doing it. Give me 1 second. So I want a new file. We're going to call it to an exercise 11. I'm going to call it exercise okay. And in here I'm going to paste that code. Oh, not that one. I'm going to paste our list. And I'm going to start and solve this. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm not going to give you like 5 minutes to solve this. I'm just going to go and solve it, but verbalize everything that I'm doing. Because I think that would probably make more sense than me just sitting here. So what's the first thing that they said? They said they wanted to solve this. We needed to add everything with a for loop. Work out how much money. Write a program that uses a for loop to calculate the total cost. That's what we need to do. Cool. So right off from the beginning, we know we need a for loop. So that's quite simple. We remember if we don't, we can come up here and see the syntax. But the for loop was quite idiomatic, so it does what it means. So for something in, and then here you're going to put a list here, or an iteratable, but in our case, and then we're going to do something here, right? Do something here. Okay, that's how the list works. So where's our list here? And our list here is defined in line 4. It's called cost, and it's a list that has all of these floats, 8.30, 7.12, and so on. So we're going to take cost, we're going to substitute it in for list. Cool. Now do something here. So for something, now I guess it's going to be, this was something for our lunches, so lunch cost. And this is just good naming convention, so I know what these represent. And now I need to do something here. Now what do I need to do? First, I'm going to explore. Let's imagine I don't know what I'm doing. So I could just put here lunch cost, right? And run this code. Okay, it prints out all the individual values. Okay, so let me pseudocode. I don't really want to print out all the individual values. What do I want to do? I want to get each individual item, and then item, and add each one to a total. Then the question in my head, okay, I want to do that. I'm already grabbing each individual cost. Do I have a total? I do. It's called total cost. So I'm going to use total cost as my variable. So I can keep adding to total cost. If I didn't have a place, like if I didn't have, add each one to a total, if I didn't have a place to keep this total, then I would just create one. Does that make sense? So that's what you would do. You'd write this out and then be like, okay, well, I need to create one. So I want to get each individual item. Well, that's this line, right? Print lunch cost, that's each individual item. And I want to add each one to the total. So, and I can use total cost. So total cost, okay, and the total cost, what's the total cost? How do you make a total? The total, you add everything you have in there plus whatever new thing you want to add. So basically, the total cost is always going to be the total cost plus whatever new thing I want to add. And the new thing happens to be the individual lunch cost. Okay, so now I can comment that one out. Wait, do I comment that one out? It's being a bit annoying. And now I can print total cost. Ta-da! Self-life. Okay, that feels even more weird when I'm by myself here. Well, actually, I'm not really by myself. I have my housemate looking at me like I'm weird. That's okay. Cool. That worked. Yeah, does that make sense? Did that make sense for everyone? So how we broke down the pseudocode? Okay, and how we first just started by exploring what was happening. Cool. So happy with that. Don't need to do anything. If you got that, great. Let's go to the next exercise. So that was exercise 4.4. I'm not even going to check. There was another one that would that was also using an if function, but we can do. I guess we could do an if function. Let's do a second exercise. Actually, let's try a third, an exercise that is quite common to exist to ask for interviews as well. Actually, so let's do exercise. Which one was this one? 112. Exercise 113. So what are we going to do? This time I'm going to make my own exercise, but I want a program that will go over a list using a for loop. And if it finds and add the total of okay, let me do the same. Let me get this part. Let me get this first. Okay. Cool. It is by 2. Okay, I want a program that will go over a list using a for loop and add the total as long as it's divisible by 2. Divisible. Oh no. Now my inability to spell is going online. Don't panic, Filipe. It will be fine. Devise. Perfect. I'll devise a program not to make mistakes. I'm going to ignore that. Divisible by 2. So I'm going to make this easier to understand. So I'm going to make. So let's imagine that this is still like individual cost of lunches. And cool. I added another one there. But basically, what I want is at the total, as long as it's divisible. As long as it's divisible by 2. Okay. So what I mean is, as long as it's an even. In other words, add if. Sorry if there's a noise. That's my coffee machine. Add if it is. Okay. And we want to use a for loop. Using a for loop. So let's do the same thing. Let's just start exploring. Like, let's not try to break everything down. Like, oh my god, how do I check if something is divisible by 2 right away? Let's not do that. Let's start by just doing what we did, which was, well, we want to add everything, and then we'll add the condition of checking if it's divisible by 2. Does that make sense? So we'll start by the simple things that we know, and then we'll move on to the next part. So, for example, for number 4, it was lunch cost in cost. We're going to, the first thing that we did in last time was just get each individual print lunch cost. Cool. And then what we did on the other one was, well, actually what we wanted was to, we didn't want to print each individual lunch cost. We wanted the total cost, and we wanted that to equate to, well, whatever the total cost was at that one specific time, plus whatever specific lunch cost is there, right? So that's what we want to do. Okay, so now print, and then we printed total cost. So this is exactly, right up till now, this is exactly the same thing as we did with the other one. Now what we add is, add the total as long as it's divisible by 2. So I used as long as it's divisible as well, but I could have used something like if it is divisible by 2, right? And if I did, then this would become easier. So what we have to do now is check if divisible by 2, then do, you know, the thing that's there. Else, what do we want to do? Well, else do nothing. Okay, so else do nothing. That's what we want to do, right? So now what we have to do is, okay, then how do I check if something is divisible? First, how do I make a condition? If, and now here condition, the condition is going to be this one, check if divisible by 2, then do that, else, I'm just going to print doing nothing, just for the fun of it. Print do nothing. Doing. Cool. So now this one's still breaking. Need to indent. And now here we have to write this condition. And I'll explain, I'll talk about the indent again in a second. So what's the condition there? So check if divisible by 2. First, what am I checking if it's divisible by 2? What am I talking about? Oh, I remember. It was the lunch cost, right? So lunch cost. Cool. Now I want to check if something's divisible by 2. What do I do to check if divisible by 2? Well, I can't use multiply because that doesn't make sense, or add, or divide, right? It doesn't make sense to divide by 2. Let's go to our operators. Maybe we wrote something here. Let's go into our, it'll probably be in our numerical types or in our booleans. Probably in our booleans. Did we not use, where's our operators? Alright, maybe I didn't show you. I think I did. But anyway, there's a special way to check. Where is it? There's a special way to check if something is divisible, is to check the remainder, okay? That's called the modulus. And that's this percentage sign. So that, when you do that, we can print what that does, so we understand what it actually does. Okay, so let me comment that one out. Let me print the lunch cost. Let me print the lunch cost divided by 2. Okay, so that, like this, we understand what that's doing. Okay, because we'll see each number and see what the result of that is. Okay, so 8 is 8 divided by 2. Is there any remainder? No, there's 0. 7 divided by 2. Is there a remainder? Apparently there's 7. 1 divided by 2. Is there a remainder? Yes, 0.5. There's 1. Okay, does that make sense? It gives you the number of reminders that exist. Oh no, wait. 5, 1. Okay, it gives you the number of reminders when you try to divide it by that. So the modulus, this little sign, gives you the remainder. So what we want, when it's divisible by 2, when something's divisible by 2, it gives me how many reminders? 0. So we're going to check if something is equal to, if this modulus this is equal to 0. I don't know if that made a lot of sense, but I hope it did. So now we don't need to print this. Okay, and actually we don't need to do this either. We need to now uncomment this, because that's where we need to do this modulus 0 equals 0. Does that make sense? So basically, only these two are divisible by 2, right? 8 and 2 are divisible by 2. So the total is 10. Cool. Okay. So, with that part done, let's go on to our next section. Next exercise. Alright, cool. Next exercise. So this was the solution for our previous one. Okay, so it was the same thing that we did. We had our list, we had our cost, then we did the for loop, and we added each one. This was an easier way, using sum. Sum is can sum each individual of these items and just print it out. Now, let's go into, I want to do exercise 4.6. That's 4.5. Oh, we'll do 4.5 first. Okay. Okay, this is also an important recap before we go on to APIs, which is dictionaries. So dictionaries, if you remember, work with key and value pair. So you have a variable that's holding a dictionary, and a dictionary is defined by these tiny little the squiggly lines, yeah. And then we have our amazing key, and it's pointing to the value. Okay, so I'm going to send you this code so you don't have to code it out completely. Create a new paste bin. Also, if you're still here with me, congratulations. Okay, it's good to see motivation. All right. So what are we going to do? So if you go to your Slack, you'll have that piece of code that I just sent. So if you get that piece of code, what we're going to do is very, very fast print out the values for name, postcode, and street number. Okay, so how do we do that? So what we do, if we had a list, we would use the indexes, right? But this is not a list. This is a dictionary. So we need to use the key. And the keys are these ones right here. Okay, so let's do that. Let's go to exercise. This one we'll do super quick, and I promise I won't overcomplicate it. Okay, let's do, this is going to be exercise 114. Exercise 114. I spelled exercise wrong. Oh no. I used bad naming convention. Let me fix that. Remember, ladies, it's important to have good naming convention. Okay? Okay, let's do this. I'm excited. So what do we need? And also, by the way, you can answer stuff on Slack. I will see it, but I will be 10. No, it won't work. It'll be 10 seconds delayed. All right, let's do it super fast. So what do we needed to do? We needed to get out name, postcode, pardon me, and street number. So we need to print place. Okay, then you need to open the square bracket, and we're going to pass in the key name. Okay, and if we do that, ta-da, we get the anchor. Okay, let's do the next one. We can, if we want to be lazy, you can just get here and do Control-C, and it will copy the entire line. You don't even have to highlight it. And you can Control-V, and it'll be there super fast. You can just go in here and go post code. Print again. Boom. Post code. E14. Oh, it's close to me. Oh, that's really close to me. Anyway, print street number. Boom. We're done with the exercise. Okay. Done. Next exercise. That's exactly what we did. Okay. And just to be sure, once again, if this was a list, we would use the index. And okay, we can do the extension as well. So the extension was, how do we get the longitude and latitude? Well, let's start by just getting out both of them out. So print, and we need once again place, square brackets, and let's put location. Now when you print that, what's going to happen is it's going to go here, okay? It's going to go to place, like, ooh, I know where place is. Oh, it's looking for location. Ooh, location. And it's going to get whatever that results, okay, the entire thing, and it's going to print all of that. Okay, we can even save it into a different variable. Sub the dictionary. Okay. So now you can see here, this is still an array. This is still a dictionary. So if you want to print the next dictionary, okay, instead of us thinking like, how do I get to latitude right away? The first thing that I saw was, well, what is the first key? Oh, it's this one. And then once I have this one, I can work from there. Well, now, what are the two keys I have? Longitude and latitude. So I just open another square bracket. This both, okay, longitude. And if I want, I can print latitude. Okay. Oh. And the reason why I save this here is because all of this is now the same. Like, it's the same thing if I had done print subdictionary and what am I doing? Oh yeah, longitude. Okay. Did that make sense? I hope it made sense. Let's go on to our next part, and I'll also make another promise. If we stick, I will do part of the lesson in Paint, because I think the next part is going to be very, very interactive. It's going to have a lot of paint, and it's going to be basically drawing diagrams and getting things to work well. Okay, cool. Sorry, not drawing diagrams to explain concepts. What am I saying? I was looking at my notes and I got distracted. Okay, cool. So this one would be the same thing, except that we have a list of. So we have a list that has dictionaries inside. So they first iterate and then use the list. We're going to skip that and we're going to go directly into what we're supposed to be doing today. Okay. which is working with files. We're going to look at pip package manager, and we're going to be then look at APIs. And in this section, okay, this is the section where I'm going to be drawing a lot. Okay, and I promise you that APIs will not be scary anymore. Okay, and you will love APIs, and we need to get to there today so that we start playing with them, because we can. They're super useful, and APIs are consuming the world, and even people that are not from tech, they need to know about what APIs are and more or less how do they work, or at least what are they for. But let's start this session. And this session, I will kind of go with it so that it feels structured, and you can kind of continue with it from home. So files. So we've looked at a lot of things. We've looked at if functions. We've looked at loops. We've looked at what else did we look? Variables, dictionaries. Now it's time to read and write files. Wouldn't that be cool? So something like, great, we're doing all these great calculations, you know, all of this stuff, but I have to write all of this stuff. Wouldn't it be good if we could get some data from somewhere else, or output some data like the longitude and latitude to somewhere else? Okay, that's kind of what we're going to be doing today. So first, it's super simple in Python. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to follow this exercise. Okay, and you're going to code along, or I'm going to code. Code first goes. This one. Nice. And this is, well, let's explain this is session 5. It's going to be session 113. I'll just explain it, and then we'll do the exercises together. So how does this work? With will take a function, okay, and it will do something with, and then do something here, and then it'll store it as a variable in this text file. Okay, in this here is just the placeholder, and then what it will do is it will get this thing will look for a file with that the first argument is the name or a path to the file, and then the second argument is what is this going to do. Okay, and this open is defined in the Python standard library, and it tells you that it needs a plus. So if I do open Python standard library, built-in types, so built-in functions. There we go. Built-in functions. So how to use open? Okay, if you need to search, you need to come here and you can find open. Then it'll tell you. So that W over there stands for opening and writing. Okay, and how you use the function, if you go to the yellow at the top, it says, okay, open file, so that requires a path, and then the mode. And the modes are these things here. Okay, it says the modes available are these. Now the rest we can ignore, but these two, they're important. So to open a file, the first thing, somebody else has already coded something. All we need to give it is a file name and a mode for it to open. So let's do that. So exercise 113. Oh, no exercise. Cool. Let's go back to our class. Alright, cool. So I'm going to copy this code, or I can type it out. Okay, so with open, and then we have write with plus, which does updating and writing, open writing, truncating the first file. So what it will do is it will open people.txt, as a text file, and then it defines a variable which has Joanna, Susanna, and Anina, and then it'll do text.file.write to people. Okay, and people is this string. Okay, and these ends, all they do is they break a line, so it'll create like a new line, and all it's going to do is, so this is defined as that string, and it's going to write it to this file. Let's try it. Okay, so I need to create the file first. Oh, there we go. It's already there. Okay, so people.txt, it wrote all of that. Okay, so let me just close all of these things. So everything that we've done today. Okay, so that piece of code, okay, open, created an object of type open out of this file, and then we have it as a text file, and then we're using the write method to just send things inside. Sorry. Cool. So what's our exercise? Create a to-do list program that writes a user input to a file. The program should ask the user for input to add a new to-do item, read the contents of the existing to-do items, add a new item to the existing to-do items, save the item to the... Ooh, it's good, quite a lot of things. Did we skip something? I feel like we skipped something. Okay. Okay, cool. We didn't, I just forgot to do this one. Alright, cool. This is how you open a file. Okay, so with open, give it a file name, and then give it what type of thing it needs to do, read, and then you can read its contents. Okay, so let's try that as well. So I'll send you both these lines of code so you can try. So this one was opening files, and now I'm going to do a new file called, don't do it on top of the venv, remember, don't do new files on top of the venv. 114. Okay, so with open, give it a file name, so it's people.txt, give it what type of what type of mode it is, so we're reading now. Give it a, save this into some kind of variable you can use, so let's call it open file. Okay, and then here you're going to be able to use the open file. Okay, so for example, open file. Read. Okay, and then what we need to do is you need to save that, and then you need to print that out. Okay, otherwise it just disappears, right? If I just write that, great, I've got the right method, but it disappears. So contents disappears because it's not saved. It's like a tree falling in a forest. And we're going to print contents. Cool. So let's see. So this one, cool. This one reads, this one writes. Okay, so let me make some notes. Writing to files. Reading on files. Cool. Okay, so we've opened, we've written to a file, and we've opened a file. So what's our exercise now? Exercise. We're in exercise. About what number we're on? Let me just check. 115. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to divide this task, because this task is too big. We're going to divide it into smaller tasks. Okay, so or actually we're just going to go ahead. So create a to-do list programs that writes user input to a file. The program should ask the user for input to add a new item. Let's just copy all of this, and this will become our pseudocode. Okay, I will send you the pseudocode as well. Actually, you have access to these things. I don't need to send it to you. I can send it to you anyway. Okay, let's see our next exercise. Next exercise. Oh, this is the thing that I'm not allowed to do, right? Cool. So I've copied all of our exercise, and now I can just focus on getting it done. Don't worry about this to-do thing. This is just a syntax highlight. It's actually not broken. This is because when you write a comment and saying to-do in PyCharm, it actually highlights it so you can see it in your code and you know in what comment where's your to-do list. Okay, so don't worry about that. So exercise write. Create a to-do list that writes the user input to a file. That's what we got to do. So ask a user for input. How do we do that? So task user task. Okay, we're going to need a variable first to save it. Okay, and we're going to use input equals what task do you want to add to our amazing list, to-do list. Then read the contents of the existing to-do items. Okay, so then we need to add, we should read the content of the existing to-do items. So how do we read the contents? Okay, let's say I don't remember. We can go back and check our syntax, right? Okay, so this one, I didn't send you these two, did I? I'll send these as well. I'm going to send you these on Pastebin so that you have them as well. So that's how to read, and we need to write. Okay, so I've sent you on Slack the 2 pieces of code. If not, you can just copy them here. Okay, so this is how you write files. You use the write, and then you use the write method. Okay, that's all we need to do. Okay, that's all you need to remember. Then you pass in whatever you want to write as a string. And this is how you read. Okay, you tell it what file you want to read. You tell it you want to read. Use the read function, save that, and print that. So now we're creating an exercise. We've asked for user input. Read the contents of the existing file, existing to-do items. Okay, let's do that. But first we should save this one. Okay, let's write this let's first write this. Okay, so first we're going to ask user for input, then write input into file. Write input into file. Then we're going to read file out, file to user. Then finally, what's the next thing? Add new item to existing to-do list. Okay, and then ask repeat to get a new item. Okay, and we're going to stick with this exercise, and we're going to first do it so that the run just runs from top to bottom, and all it does is ask the user twice for input and reads the file to user. And then we're going to change that so that we can create it into a while loop, and it'll just kind of keep doing this forever. So we create an actual to-do list. Does that sound exciting? I think that sounds exciting. All right, let's do that. What do we got to do? So first thing we need is write input. So ask user for input. Write the input into files. So we're going to need with open. We're going to need, it's told us already right there. What's the first thing we need? Ooh. First thing we need, hey, show me what's the first thing I need. Well, I know what the first thing I need is. It's the file. So we're going to call it to-do .txt. Okay, and we're going to write plus. Okay, and we're going to save it as to-do list. Okay, and to write to this to-do list, what did we do in the other one? We just got the to-do list. We're going to create, first we need to create a string with next line. We'll just start by doing the simple thing. So what we need to do, we need to get the to-do list, the write, and I'm going to write the user task. Okay, and then we're going to read from the file. So I'm going to make it the simplest possible, and then we're going to start doing it more complicated. So read from the file, we're going to do with open, then to do the txt. Okay, txt is just I forgot a comma there. Otherwise, it's not going to be 2 arguments. And we're going to read, and we're going to do as to-do list. And we're going to do to-do list dot read, and now we're gonna once again save the contents of this, right? Because we want to display it. So contents equals that, and we're going to print contents. And then we're going to once again ask user input, okay? And we're going to write it into a file, and that's going to be the same as we had before, right? So it's going to be, I could copy it, but I can see it, so I could just retype it. With open to do .txt. Okay, and if you've already written this and you've already run it and you're thinking it's not going to work, or it's not going to work as intended, well, I know it's not, for a fact it's not going to work as intended, but usually, let's imagine I didn't, when you write code, it never works as you intended right away. Okay, and you need to iterate and keep making your code better. That's usually how you learn. So what was I trying to do? Oh, I was trying to write the file. So we have the second user input. We have the to-do list. What we're going to do is we're going to do list.write. Okay, and we're going to write the user task. Okay, and then we're going to read from file. Okay, which is the same with open. Okay, now I'm tired of copying. I'm just going to copy this. And another thing that for the more advanced users and the ones that remember our functions, what's another thing that this code is starting to do? It's starting to give us, for those of us, or for some of you already, must be as well. I mean, the whole purpose of code is so that, you know, we don't have to do so many things, and they're faster at doing, you know, the same tasks, but it feels like we keep writing the same thing. So there's a little bit of a code smell here. It's called a code smell. And it's when you start seeing too much repeated code, you start noticing a code smell. But we'll get to that. We'll fix that as well. Let's have patience. All right, let's see if it works, because we've written a lot of code. It might not work. Okay, what do you want to add to our amazing to-do list? Well, let's get some. Let's clean. No, let's not clean. Let's pay the bank. I don't know why we would pay the bank, but let's pay the bank. Okay, so it ran this piece of code, and it ran this one with open to do write user task, and that's what I inputted, which was pay the bank. So that worked, because then it went on to this one, and it opened and it read it. So now let's try and put a new input, and let's see if it writes and then if it prints it. And what we wanted to do is to append to this to-do list. So what do I want to do? So after I pay the bank, I'm going to buy some vacay. Okay, person can dream, you know? Person can dream, let's go. Well, now what happened is it printed the buy some vacay, but I no longer see pay the bank. And if I go to my text file, where's my text file? What was it called? This thing never updates right away. What was it called? To do. To-do.txt. Now you're there. Okay, so that's not what I wanted. What I wanted was to create a to-do list, not a one-line list that keeps erasing everything before. What have I done wrong? Okay, let's check. Let's go back here and let's check our code. And I'm going to give you a little hint, or I'm just going to go ahead and go where it is. It has something to do with these options. See, this one is read, is write, and this one's read, right? And if we go back to my documentation, which I know we all love, okay, we must all love documentation, we can see, okay, open for reading. Nice, it's the default. Opening for writing, truncating the first line. Do you guys, so truncating means it kind of, well, it eats it, okay, it truncates it. Okay, so that's not really what we want. We don't want it to truncate the first line. We don't want it to do that at all. Okay, open for exclusive of creating, failing if the file already exists. We don't need that either. Open for writing, appending to the end of the file if the file exists. Ta-da! That's what we want. That is what we want. Okay, so let's just read the other one. Binary mode, text mode, open for updating, reading and writing. Yeah. What we need is, we need this. This is what we need. We need to append to our thing. So let's do that. So instead of W, we're going to put A here. We're going to put A here. Okay, so now that's all I changed was a little A from the W, and let's see how our program behaves differently. Let's try running it again. Okay, so once again we're in line 12. What task do you want to add to our amazing to-do list? And I'm going to say, I'm going to go vacay first. Book vacay. Okay, now I have buy some vacay, book vacay. Well, that's not great, is it? But let's add some other stuff. Get apply for new job. Buy some vacay, book vacay, apply for. That is not what I wanted, is it? It's still not perfect, but at least it is not truncating all my previous stuff, right? It's just adding on more things. I don't know why this is not updating. Okay. Okay, well, reload my file. There we go. Okay, cool. So it needed to reload. It said here file was accepted. Okay. Anyway, at least it didn't disappear or anything. It just did a really poor job at actually creating this list. So it's not perfect yet. And what we need is every time we need to change this to do, this write, right? Because every time it writes, it just appends it. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to write, but I want to write with an extra okay, a backslash n? Yeah, backslash n. And what that will do is it will give it a little, like pressing enter, it will do a new line. Okay? And that's what I want, so that my thing doesn't all write in one line, right? Each thing is written in a new should be in a new line, right? And now because I changed it there, and because I have this twice, and this is where the code smell starts to really smell, so I've written it once, and I have to go down, I have to go find it, and it's quite hard, like, you know, there's no names, like, how do you find which one is the append? Like, I'm looking for the A's here, so this is R, oh, this is the one that's append. Alright, cool. So now what I have to add is here, I need to add it to add a new list. Alright, cool. So I'm starting to repeat myself a lot. Okay, that's what I'm starting to do. Repeat myself a lot. I have to, every time I change something, I have to change it into places. It's not very efficient. We need to keep making this more efficient. Let's run this. Let's see what it's doing now. Okay, it's still gonna have all this stuff that's here. Okay, it's still gonna look weird. We'll clean it out in a second. So what do you want to add to your amazing list? I want to add call mom and dad. Cool. So now, okay, it's kind of still weird, but it's normal that it's weird. Why? Because look, we only added the extra line after the first line was added, so it's always not, the first one was always going to add there. Let's see what happens to the second line that we add. Let's see what happens. So now, maybe pay the landlord. Okay, so now every time we add new things, by include. Okay, now it starts to add to a new list, so it's looking a bit better. Okay. All right, let's clean this. This feels a little bit better. It's still not perfect. What can we do to this exercise? Let's see. So the first thing that I wanted to do is, you know how a to-do list usually has. Let's say that I wanted now to first. I wanted to add any amount. Well, let's see if I first did the task. Ask the user to input into a new item. Read the contents of the existing to-do items. Add new items to the item of the existing to-do items. Save and update new items. You will need to manually create a new file called to-do in the same folder as you. That's fine. Okay, so I want to make this program better. Okay, don't worry. We'll get to the APIs. Don't worry. We're reading and writing. Reading and writing is really important. Is there anything else that we need to do? Actually, let me just check. Oh, pip pack mat. Trust me. No, this is way more important. All right. Cool. And this is we're going to add a few extra things, right? Because this, I'm going to be honest. This is some ugly code. Okay, we need to do much better than this. Okay, it's not completely ugly, but there's a lot of code smells. There's a lot of repetitions. So remember functions. Okay, remember what was my function at Sparta Global? Okay, and I can hear your screams almost through here. Okay, my function, I had one function. Okay, my function was to train. I don't get people in. I'm not from talent. I don't check. I don't do the cleaning. I don't do the sales. I don't do the management. I do training. That's my function. Okay, and usually people that are good at their jobs, or not. I don't mean it that way, but a lot of people usually they have one function. Okay, and that's called specialization. And functions, and that means it makes it easier for us to assess them, and it also means they get to be really good. Okay, so that's functions in code is exactly the same thing, right? They just have one function. Okay, and then this means that they're testable, they're easy to maintain, and yeah, that's what we're going to do. And the other thing that functions do is that they help us not repeat ourselves, which is basically what this whole file is me repeating myself. And well, not only do I not like repeating myself, I'm also quite lazy, so I don't want to write all this. Okay, I want to be done. And then I want to, every time I want to add something to a task, I don't want to have to type it out. Okay, I've typed it once, it should be enough. So we're going to do that. We're going to change these things into functions, and then we're going to put a while loop around this, so it keeps asking us, and we'll just do a full functioning to-do list that reads and writes, and then we can go explore pip and package manager. We'll do all those things. All right, let's do our first thing. So now I'm going to add here to our task. I'm going to get rid of this because this is bothering me with the yellow. So what we're going to do is turn this into a functional program. Okay, a little smiley face. Okay, cool. So if you don't remember the syntax of functions, don't worry. I'm going to help you. So the first thing we need to do is we need to turn this one into a function. So it's the right. Okay, and this is super simple. So we're going to do def. Let's call it write to do list. Okay, and we're going to put a semicolon there, and I'm just going to highlight everything that I have there and hit tab. Okay, and I can even include ask user input inside of this. Okay, so I'm just going to I'm going to move it down into that function. Okay, so now I have a function that when I call it, the first thing it does is ask for user input, and then it writes set input into the file while putting in an extra line. Great. Okay, and now we're going to do the same thing with read from read from this file. Okay, so we're going to define read from to do. Okay, and all we're going to do is highlight these 3 lines and indent them. Okay, and when you indent in Python, it means they exist within the block of this function. Okay, they exist in this scope. Okay, so I can even cascade them, and you can see that they exist in this scope. All right, and now what that means is that now I have actual functions, and I don't need to repeat myself. All of this is now repeated code. Okay, I can even I don't want to get completely rid of. No, I can't get rid of it. I'm going to get rid of it. I'm just going to put it down. I'm going to make it disappear. Okay, and now my code is a lot cleaner. Would you agree that this looks a lot cleaner than before? I don't know why I'm looking there. I'm trying to get feedback, but it takes 10 seconds, so I'm never going to get feedback. But anyway, does that make sense? This is much cleaner. However, now for functions, you need to call them, right? So if I want to do this, ask the user for input for a new to-do list, and then read, all I need to do is call the functions. And calling the functions, usually this catches people off because of how simple it is. Calling functions is as simple as writing the name of the functions and then putting the brackets. So write to-do list. Okay, if I call this, if I run this, it does what the computer will do is so let me cancel this. Okay, we'll just recap on what happens here. So if I have nothing here and all I have is these 2 functions, there's no code for it to write to do. There's no actual code for it to execute. So when I run it, nothing's going to happen. Okay, it ended the process, nothing happened. So now what we need to do is we need to call these functions. Okay, and like this, I'm abstracting the complexity of it, because the good thing about it is once you've coded it, you can abstract the complexity of it, and you don't need to worry about it anymore. It's there, it's in the background. You've dealt with it before, and then next time you need to deal with it again, you just apply your logic. That's the beauty of it. You don't need to memorize any of this. All right, so let's do. If I want to call that function, all I need to do is write to-do list. And now when I run this, what it will do is it'll start reading. It'll get to line 26 and go like, "Ooh, this is a function. I got to do something." So I'm going to go in here and run whatever's in there. Well, first line is ask user for input. User task, which is a variable, is defined to input, and it's going to do what tasks do you want to add to our amazing to-do list, and it did exactly that, and it's waiting for input. And we're not going to keep it waiting. Amazing task to my to-do list. Go to Morocco. No, I do want to go to Morocco. That's probably not how you spell. Okay, don't hate if I got that wrong. Anyway, cool. So it did that, and why didn't it print my to-do list? Because it got here, it did that, then it wrote to my file. If I go to my file, it'll probably be in there. Where is it? To do. I need to reload it. Go to Morocco. It's already there. I did misspell it. Let's fix it. Spelling. Cool. I'm a programmer. I can do that. And then we go back here, and we're just going to do. We're gonna call this one now. Read from to do. Okay, so I'm gonna hide that one, and I'm just gonna call this function. And calling the function once again is as simple as just using its name. Okay, so now once again, playing computer. It got to line 26. It knows it has to execute this function, so it goes up here. It opens this up and goes, okay, what's my first line? I gotta do this input thing where I print out this line to the user. All right, I'm gonna print out this line. I'm gonna give it. We're gonna go to where should we go? let's go to Brazil. Okay, that's how you write it in Portuguese as well. So that one I know. Oh, what have I done? Cool. And now it read off the rest of the program because I told it to do so. So now if I want to write more things, I can just keep doing this, right? And it will keep calling those functions. Okay, so what do I want? What task do you want to put in our amazing list? Do Python. Okay, what task do you want to do to your amazing list? Do more APIs. Okay, and it's done. See, and it just keeps working because I made it work the first time. But remember also I didn't make it work the first time because I iterated until it was good enough and I put it in a function. The first time I did it, it did not work. Okay, it was a lame code. Okay, so remember that. And now there's another code smell here. Okay, it's starting to bug me again. Okay, and I know it can bug you guys there as well. Ladies, what am I doing? What did I just said? You know, it's annoying when I have to repeat myself. Oh, that's it. I'm not supposed to repeat myself. Okay, so where am I repeating myself? I've got write a to-do list, read from to-do list, read from to this. This is repeating myself. Okay, and ladies, I hate repeating myself. So let's put this into a while loop. So now I've turned this into a functional program. Okay, big smiley face. Turn it into a program in a while loop. Well, let me show you how it's done. Let me show you how it's done. All right. Well, actually, I would prefer you ladies to show me how it's done, but we're gonna have to wait until we can be back at the office. But anyway, so I can imagine I'd be picking probably be picking in the table to the right and to the back. Yeah, that's probably what I'll do. Okay, just imagining. All right, so what do we got to do? How does the while loop work? While, and then the easiest way is to make a break condition. So here you need condition. Okay, and while that condition results in true, it's going to keep iterating. And iterating means it's going to keep looping. It's going to keep going, not even iterating, just, while looping. It's going to keep looping whatever's inside this block. Okay, and maybe here, what we can do is maybe we can do a, let's say, add continue play, continue to do equals true. Okay. Okay. I feel like I'm doing something stupid. I don't know why. Never mind. I'll just keep doing it anyway. I feel there's a little code smell here as well. Sometimes code smells, you don't know what you're like. It's like a little thing in your head. But anyway, it'll still work. It's just a weird way. So I have to define here continue to do. It's a variable, and that's equal to true. So this one, what is this doing? This is equating, right? So it's going, is continue to do, this little box, is that true? Is that equal to true? And the truth is, both of this just results in true, which is very redundant, I know, but bear with me, okay? Just bear with me a second. And then what we're going to do is, so can you continue to do, and we're going to say equals input. Would you like to? I don't know. Actually, we're going to do it different. what I have to do now is if I'm going to pseudocode because I'm getting to that phase where I have many ways where I could build this, or in some case like I don't know where to start, and the best way is to just write it in English. So for the way that I've built it, I've got a variable over here. It's not the prettiest way, I know, we'll refactor, but I've got a variable over there, it's equating to true, and here it's checking if that is still true. So what I want to do is ask user if he she still wants to continue with to-do list, and then if he does, then do nothing. Else else what are we going to do? We're going to change the variable continue to do. Continue to do. And we're going to change said variable to what? To we're going to change the variable to do to be false. Okay, it is not the prettiest way to code it, but it will work. All right, so ask the user if he wants to continue with the to-do list. User input equals input. Do you want to continue with the to-do list? And then we're gonna say if she already does. Okay, so if user input, I'm just gonna do exactly what's here so it's not confusing. Equals yes. Type yes. Okay, or user input equals okay, then we're going to continue. We're just going to pass. Okay, pass is just like, basically it's the equivalent of doing nothing. Elif, we're going to else if the variable else change the variable to do. Else we're going to do an elif. Elif user input equals no, or no, we're just going to do else. We're going to do exactly what's there. Else we're going to change this to false. Okay, so so what that will do is, so we have something, this is so, oh yes, that's quite, there is a big code smell in here, but it works anyway, so let's do it. But usually if you have these like true, false, if you have lots of booleans lying around, it's also not. It also means that something else is happening, but for now, it's nice. For now it will do. So let's see if it works. Let's be optimistic. So what task do you want to add to our amazing to-do list? Let's make lunch. Make lunch. Do you want to continue with your to-do list? Yes. What do you want to add to our to-do list? Python homework. Python homework. Do you want to continue our to-do list? Yes. More things. Do you want to continue with our to-do list? No. And ta-da! It's finished. Top 5. I would ask for questions, but actually I can't ask for questions. Is there any questions? I don't see any questions, so I'm going to continue. So that's the power of methods. And the cool thing also about methods is once you've done those methods, okay, you can kind of almost forget about it, and that's really powerful, because then you can just focus on the control flow. Like, you've done some of the logic here, okay, there's a lot of logic in there, but now you're doing logic of the control flow, and here you're doing logic of writing to a program. Okay, you're doing different things, and it just becomes really neat. Okay, let's go back to Code First Girls. Let's see where we are. Let's see what they wanted us to do with this exercise, because they might have wanted us to do something completely different. Let's find out. Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. Let's see what they wanted us to do. Well, we took it a little bit to the next level, didn't we? But it's still the same thing. So it's exactly where we began, right? We did exactly this. We started exactly here. And then we did it twice because we wanted our to-do list to continue. And then we put it in a while loop. And now we know. Oh, that's why we had working with CSV files as well. Okay. Well, let's do this one as well. Okay. Let's see where we are. So, first, I'm going to need this CSV. File name, data, open, write. Okay, writing to a CSV file. Writing, and then reading. Okay, so let's understand this code. That's the most important thing that we need to do, is to understand this code. And usually when you have code, once again, it doesn't matter if it's here. Here it's quite a pretty interface, or here. Okay, the first thing is to just get acquainted with the code. What things do you know? What do you not know? This you don't know. This is a variable. This is a list. These are names. These are items. Sorry, these are strings inside the list. This you do know. This is a list. This is a dictionary. So this is a list of dictionaries which then has keys inside and has some data. And then this we know with open, but now it's a CSV file and we're writing. And now we're using this CSV thing, okay, that came from there. And we're writing the dictionary and we're seeing what that's going to do. Let's try it. I'm going to send you this data. I'm going to send you this code and I want you to try it. Okay? I want you to try it till the point where you break it. And ladies, thank you once again for coming. It's good to have you over. And I hope this didn't get too boring. Okay, I sent you that code on a paste bin, and so that we can play around with it. Okay, so I'm going to use the same code, and we're going to explore what this does together. Where is it? It's this one. Although this was a good exercise. I was happy with this exercise. We got a lot into this exercise. So let's go into which one is this? This is this is reading. This is 114, 115, CSV, reading. Reading or writing? Okay, hopefully you will have already been able to go to the paste bin and copy that code. Cool, should look something like that. And let's try it. So what's it going to do? This is going to use the CSV, the open function that we already looked. It's going to use the write command, which appends. And we're going to create a variable that has the result of the csv.dictionary_writer, and then it's going to take the CSV file. Okay, so it's going to take the open file, and the field names is going to be equal to. Okay, it's going to be equal to those field names. Do you see how easy it becomes when you're in your code editor? Okay, that makes some sense. And then it's going to do write headers, write rows of data, but there is no data. Oh yes, there is data over there. Let's try and see what it does. Oh. Be great if this would update. What was it called? Team.csv. New file. Joke. Cancel. Okay. Also, for those of us that don't know what a CSV is, it's a comma separated value. So it's a file that is just very, very simple. It just has values and they're separated by commas. Okay, and that's basically, you can kind of translate an Excel into that, as long as you assume that all commas mean that there's a new cell. Okay, so what did it do? Okay, it has some methods that we can go look at this library. This library is, once again, is traditional. We just do import because it's not traditional. Sorry, it's standard with Python. And what we're going to do is we're going to write. The first thing that we do is we write the field names. And then we get that spreadsheet, we save it as a dictionary writer, and then we do the write the headers, and then we write the rows of data. Cool. That's pretty straightforward. The data is these. Okay, and then how it does is, because of these field headers, it knows that the first column will be for the name. Okay, so it will use the columns headers as the keys, and just get out that data and put it here. Okay, so here, as you can see, you don't have name. That's not what it wrote out, right? Okay, it used the name as the key. So the column, then the name of the column will be the key, and then the value will be the value. Okay, so that's pretty cool. It's pretty convenient, pretty easy to get up and going. So we can play around with it. So I told you to play around it until you break it. So let's give here John Doe. He's going to be 58. And Sarah Connor. Oh, she's like, well, it's really undefined. So I'm going to go with 200, 2000. I don't really know. Actually, I might be exposing how little I know. Alright, calfrow with that last trailing comma. So let's see what happens now if I do this, if I run this again. Alright, where's my people? Where's my CSV? Team.csv. I have to reload this. This keeps don't bother me. Okay, so okay. Just rewrote everything. What if I put something that doesn't exist here? What happens then? Anybody tried that? What if I put here, I don't know, email equals what does it equal to? Emails. Oop, syntax is wrong there. Careful. Emails at mails.com. See what it did? What I think it'll do is it'll just add. No, let's just go. Oop. Okay, I broke it. Nice. Why did I break it? Dictionary contains field name, email. Whatever. Okay, cool. So doing this, I didn't break it because this is fine. What broke was because this was trying to do something and then it doesn't know what email is and then it broke. Okay, cool. So I managed to break it. I'm happy. I am happy. Okay, let's go to the next part. So, book. Okay, reading a CSV. I'm going to send it to you right away so that you are not waiting for me. Okay. And that's not it. Okay, so reading is even more simple. So we're going to do CSV. CSV reading, let's go. Okay, CSV reading, what do we have? So, once again, weird thing that we don't know. Well, we can go, we've seen it for the second time, so we should probably go see, and let's probably go see what this dic reader is. Okay, this dictionary reader, we need to see what that is. Let's see what that is. Oh. Okay, CSV, file reading and writing. Well, isn't that what we need? That is exactly what we need. And what was that thing? We're using the dictionary reader. Okay, well, look at that. This is what. Okay, it raised my error because. Okay, cool. So if we want to know more about how it works, we know where to find that information. That's important for those of us that want to get to the next level. But for now, yeah, all we need to know is that it turns this CSV into an amazing. Guess what? You guessed it. It turns it into a dictionary. Turns stuff into dictionaries. Okay, that's all we need. And then we need to change the stuff for CSVs. Okay, we do need to know the terminology. And then in the previous thing, what it does is allows to write using CSV. Okay, and you set your headers, then these become the hertz. Set your hertz headers, and these become the keys of your dictionaries. Dictionary keys. Dictionary. That's what happens when you type in different computers every time. Okay. Cool. So let's see it reading now. So what do we have? We have our CSV, our gorgeous CSV. Gorgeous, where is it? Okay, well, we know where it is. Let's read it. Okay, so basically it turns, okay, each row of the spreadsheet can now be turned into a dictionary. Okay, let me just see what's inside. Let me just print row. Okay, order dictionary, that's fine. Okay, so what it does into lists of dictionaries. Okay, each row is one. I'm just gonna add a little few. So what it does is each row is one dictionary. The keys of the dictionary are the columns. Okay. All right. The homework will definitely be with this. Okay, this will definitely be what I want you to do. Okay, I want you to practice opening and writing files, CSV files. Okay, this will be quite important. We practiced a lot already, lists and dictionaries, and while loops and functions. Okay, but we need to practice this. This is going to be good as well. Okay, so now what do we need? What's our? I lost track of what we're doing. Let's go back. I've lost the track. Let's go back. Okay, this program is supposed to read the data about trees from a file you find in shortest tree and find the shortest tree. Complete the program adding the code to open CSV. The trees and okay, so there's a file in our student guides, okay, which has the trees.csv, and this file is going to be needed. And we need to save this file, this trees.csv, in the same location as our Python program. Okay, so for this to work, we need to have our trees.csv. And I think I'm going to ask you to do this for homework. So I can go on to pip and then into drawing some stuff. Now let's do it. Let's do it together. And so, who has access to our Code First Girls Python? Code First Girls Python. How to do? What to do? What to do? What to do? What to do? So, if you go in our channel, you should be able to find a link that Gaia has given somewhere. Okay. So this is where you find your homework and all your other stuff. I'm not going to keep explaining what it is because I have it. We have done so 3 times. And it's really up to you now to decide if you want to go and pick it up or not. Of course, you always have my encouragement, okay? And you'll get lots of self-5s if you do. And who knew? Who knew that self-5 was going to become such a thing? Well, I don't know if it's going to become a thing, but it's going to become such a thing because social distancing. What do I need? Once again, I got lost. Project guide. Oh, we wanted the. This is what we wanted. Copy of trees.csv. Let's download. Download. Okay, download. Download. Okay, here we go. Gorgeous trees. You're coming with me. Where is my? Okay, if you don't know where your code is, if you're thinking, oh no. Now I've been waiting. I knew this was going to come. It's going to come to the time where Filipe would know that I don't actually know where my code is. It's fine. Look, it's here. If you look at the top of your thing, it will tell you where it is. Or if you do save as, it will also tell you where it is. Okay, it'll give you a path to your code. So mine is inside. You can even copy all of that path, by the way, if you have a Windows, and you can just kind of copy that path. Because it's a path, I guess you could even, technically, you could even open it from your browser. Technically, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, you see, you could. It's not a great way to visualize it, but you could. Let's not do that. Let's do none of that. Let's just open it with our file explorer. Because, I mean, what was I trying to do? Gorgeous code. So here, what are we trying to put here? We're trying to place copy of trees. Copy of trees, in you go, into our code. Hey, don't do that. Why are you trying to run? If you put it on top of a Python file, it'll try to execute that file, so don't do that. Copy of trees, okay. And now what code do we need to do? So let's see. There's our copy of trees. Touché. This can go away. Oh, can't see anything anymore. And this is our code. This looks like a terribly hard exercise. Terribly hard. I'm joking, it is not terribly hard. And you ladies can do this with your eyes closed. Well, not actually. You can't do it with your eyes closed because you need to read. But what are we doing? Trees program. Okay, so first of all, I want you to go change as well. You see this name copy of trees with underscores? You don't want it to be called that, trust me. Just call it trees. Trees, and if you want to use underscores for something, go ahead. But make sure you use underscores and not spaces. Okay, otherwise you're gonna have a hard time. So let's look at what this code is doing. So it wants a spreadsheet. Add the code to open your thing. Height is nothing, and then for row in spreadsheet. Add your code to open your CSV file. Okay, so how do we open our CSV file? Well, let's go see. Well, this is how we open our CSV file. How about we kindly take that code, just kind of make it ours, like we need to import CSV as well. Okay, add your code to open the CSV file. Well, this here, it's going for each row, and I'm going to go by what? First, they taught us how to use dictionaries, so I'm guessing they want us to use dictionaries. You see over there it says row height. Okay, so I'm guessing that's what they want. But I'm going to peek because we're at the end of the day, so I'm going to go peek. We're at the end of the class, and I still wanted to go over a couple more things. Yeah, that's what they want us to do. With open. Hey, that's not the same code as what was there. Why is this? Okay, that makes sense. Okay. So with open, we're going to, let me get rid of all of this code for now. There's a for loop there. We had a for loop there as well. Spreadsheet. Okay. So what do we need to do? This is what we had. So now this spreadsheet will become that spreadsheet, right? So what we need to do, I'm not going to copy all that code. We need to import CSV. Now what we're going to do is with open. Now we're going to specify our trees. Now my specific file is called trees something. Okay, I'm even going to copy that and put it here. And for opening, I'm going to go back to here and I'm going to see, well, I want R. And we're going to save it as CSV file. Okay, and then the spreadsheet here, this is where the money is coming, so add your code here. So let's go back and see how to open the CSV. So it was dictionary CSV.dictionary reader. So CSV dictionary reader, and then in here you pass in this CSV file. Is that what it was? That's all it was. And then all of these things, they need to be indented because this needs access to that, so it only exists within the block, so it needs to be indented. And I think that's it. Oop. So it said here name error R is not defined, so I knew that was supposed to be a string. So it's not defined because I thought it was a variable. Okay, tree something. No such file or directory, tree something. Well, that is astonishing. Where is it? Where is the tree files? The tree files. That's going to be a bummer, isn't it? So how do you make you force reindexing? How about make a new file called tree something? See if it recognizes like the last time. So right now it's not recognizing that I've got that file there, but I know that's the name because I literally copied and pasted because I know myself. So see. This doesn't matter. So where is my CSV? Where is the CSV? Alright, give me 1 second, ladies. I apologize. Okay, my tree something.csv appeared. Ah, I know what's happening. See this extension? Over there, it's not appearing. Okay, it needs that extension. Okay, and it was also not appearing here as being weird. CSV. Alright, let's see if it runs now. The shortest tree is 170 units of measurement. Okay. Probably centimeters, I'm guessing. That's it. That's that part. Python and pip. How do I explain? So basically, and we're going to need to explain, we're going to have to look at APIs, and we'll look at APIs in close next time. But I'll send you a video for you to watch about APIs, and I can send you some reading about APIs so that we have some better understanding. But in general, an API is a service that is a beautiful service where you've got the internet. It's a service for computers to talk to computers. Okay, and their interface that they use is a dictionary. So because that's the best interface for a computer to talk to a computer. So the same way we turned things into dictionaries because we thought that's the easiest way for Python to work with it, which it was. APIs is the same, but it's about sending information from one side to another. So I will make some drawings around it and how that works, so that we can look onto how that works. But generally, what you do is you're going to make a request using the library called requests, and it's going to travel through the internet through some kind of protocol, and it's going to hit an API. That request, okay, this API is going to read that request and then send you back some more information. Okay, and that's the basis of an API. It's just a communication protocol. But then what you do with it, it gets really cool. And we'll build some really cool stuff with it next time. It will build some. You guys know we can go, for example, to the Chuck Norris API. I don't know if anybody still remembers Chuck Norris, but so for example, in this case, we're going to make a GET request. Okay, there's two types of requests. We're just going to cover GET, but we're going to do a GET request. And you see this diagram here that we had with these things, your computer, and it could be anything. Okay, GET requests. It could be that this actually is not just a computer; it's a computer that happens to be your cool ass iPhone. Okay, and then we're gonna do our amazing request. It's gonna go in there. Okay, it's gonna go through that amazing cloud, and then we're gonna get back. And making a request is as simple as going to a website. So you make requests all the time, okay, and you get a response back. An API is just a structured way of doing that, and you get structured information back. So if I make this GET request here, I will get back a chunk of information. Okay, I will not get back HTML. I will get back a dictionary. Okay, and this dictionary in this dictionary will just kind of give us back. You know, we go to this thing and we will just get back a structured response. Okay, so I can do that again. Okay. Cool. That's it for now. Oh, homework. Yes, I forgot. So homework. All right. The homework is to actually do the homework for this section. Okay? For the section that we did today. Let me see what the homework is. Well, we have to do a lot of APIs. We have to play with some APIs. Cool. Okay, so homework is I'm going to show you how to install requests, and the homework is just to do exercise 5.3 plus revise all the things that you've done up till now. If you are lost in something up till now, I recommend you to reach out to me, because if otherwise it's going to get complicated in the next ones, okay? So I'm going to show you how to install requests, and we're going to do this thing where we use the Chuck Norris API. I'll send you the Chuck Norris API for us to play, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to use requests super quickly. So you know how we've been importing CSVs and stuff? Yeah, so that's a standard library. We could have something that's an external library. Okay, and to do that you need to import said external library. So I'm going to start a new file. I'm going to call it using requests. Okay, and all of this code I'll update to GitHub. So what you're going to do is you're going to do import requests. And what's going to happen is that, you know how when we do import CSV, it just goes gray? When you do requests, for some reason, for some reason it goes red. Okay, and the reason for that, if we hover over it, it'll tell us no module name request. Okay, well, what else do you have for us? Okay, no module name request. Well, it's not very inventive, is it? What we can do is we can install requests. So what you need to do is you need to go on settings, and we're going to go on to our, so collapse everything, and then we're going to go into our whatever your project, and then it has the name of your project, and you're going to go in your interpreter, and here you're going to install requests. Okay, not requests, they're different libraries. Okay, and what is this requests? So this is basically, remember the functions that I could just call them and they would read and write? Well, imagine this like reading and writing, but sending stuff over the internet. So, and using pip and a package manager is basically installing somebody else's code so that you can use said code. Alright, package request was successfully installed. Now, when installing packages, these are also called, I'll just give you some extra information as well. These are also called dependencies. Now, as a friend of mine once said, they're called dependencies for a reason. They're dependencies because you depend on them. And then that means that as your code grows and there are updates to be made, your code might suffer and break if things are not running smoothly. Anyway, let's install requests. Cool. So now requests is ready to use. Okay, and now we can use requests by doing, so let's say that we have web page equals request. Okay, so now we're calling that library dot, and now we can do get, and it asks us for a URL. So, but remember here on Chuck Norris, it also said get, and it gave us a URL. So that's all we need. That is literally all we need. So let's copy that. Copy. I'm gonna go back here, paste it in there. Okay, and I'm gonna run it. Okay. Sure enough. Okay, that wasn't a lot. I didn't really get a lot back out. But let's see what I get. Web page. Let's print web page. Response 200. That doesn't tell us much. Okay, it's for those of us that understand status codes. That's good. 200 is good. 400 and 500 bad. 200 good. That's all we need to know really. So let's see. Web page for now. Obviously, then you know more. Let's get out the content. What's the content of this? Well, the content is a weird URL. Okay, let's not get out the content. Let's get out the JSON. Okay. Okay, so now this looks like a dictionary. Okay, the cool thing about the APIs is that they use this thing called JSON, and JSON is this this dictionary that doesn't know it's a dictionary. Okay, it's a dictionary in another language. Okay, it's like yeah, it's like the same thing. Like, you know how you have the same word like hello, and then you have hi, hola, oi. They all mean the same thing. They're just different languages. So dictionaries are kind of, they all mean they all work more or less the same. They just have different languages, and they might be written in slightly different ways. And JSON just turns this thing and gets the JSON out of this request, and then we can use it. Let me just check. Oh. Results. No. Okay, and then I can print dictionary. I'm going to print its type, and hopefully, if I've not made a mistake, I should get, yeah, dictionary. Alright, so if it's a dictionary, oh, if this is a dictionary, okay, now we can print dictionary JSON. Okay, we can look at it, and if we want to print out the joke, we just need to use the key value pairs until we reach the joke. So where's the joke? The joke is inside value. Is inside value, yeah. Okay. So if I want to print from a dictionary and use its key, what do I need to do? I need a square brackets, and all I need is the key. Okay, so this is how I would print out the text message. Well, not the text message, sorry, the content. And this is how I use requests. Okay, so your homework will be to do the same. But for Pokemons, and you're going to get the height and weight of a specific Pokemon. Okay? And then you're going to do the next one. Okay, so that's the homework. Let me just maybe get us to do this. Yeah, so homework is 5.2. I'm going to write that on our Slack, okay? I might add some more things. Okay, and I'm going to have to go research a few more things for us to add. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for sticking around. If you did, well done. And hopefully next Monday, well, next Monday we're probably still going to be here, let's be honest. So next Monday we'll try to have something where it's a little bit more interactive, because I would like to also get some feedback from what I'm doing. And I think it would be great if you could join in and ask questions. So thank you. And for now, I'm going to exit. And I hope this has been fun. If not, I'll see you around.